Thank you, Achutha ji. So, this beautiful book of Spanda Karika is available for all. May Shiva bless all of us.
Good evening to all of you. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. It's very strange that I was suddenly getting the image of Arjun Rajas in the morning, and my decision was to, I don't know why, and I had decided not to do any book exhibition or book release, because book release was like, I felt it was like an ego trip that people don't read books but just take photographs and do video and go. So I was not for that, but I wanted to give it to people who would read, or who, it is like a fragrance or a prasada. There is no doer here, because the doer is absent, because only the inspiration of the universe and God will make us be able to express ourselves. And that has to be spread, and that is the reason why I thought we should spread it. And because of that thought, he came all of a sudden from nowhere, and just it was an intuition which happened. The moment it happened, you will not believe that I had heard him many times in Mysore, and I was quite. I thought he is a non-dualistic schoolmaster. See, finally, this is not about non-dualism. So when Arjun told me and we talked about Prabhuji to do it, I knew that he will be one person who will read the book, because it's a very difficult reading. It is not an easy reading to read this book, because it needs a lot of kind of background understanding. But I have tried to make it simple by giving some examples. So when he came, the most beautiful thing about somebody who is very knowledgeable is to be able to come. He came to my house to discuss with me the book, and by that time he had finished Swaroopa Gnana. And then today we talked about Sahajiva Jyodaya and Vibhuti Pada. So Vibhuti Spanda. So that gives me so much satisfaction for the good of everybody. You know, the last sentence of the Kallata and Kshemaraja, who are disciples of Abhinav Gupta, who wrote this book, was simply to say, can we do good to all? That's it. And that good to all has been able to do by people like him who can do that. And therefore, I am very blessed, I am very fortunate to have somebody who understands what is Spanda Karika, to explain to millions of people. This book is not important. One person understanding it and talking about it is all that we need to spread. Thank you. I will now read some passages from the book, and you can kind of make you get a little bit addicted. Many people who are very close to me at heart say that when we don't get sleep, we read this kind of book, or we listen to spirituality. So, today I'm not able to sleep. Why don't you read a couple of passages so that we can go to sleep? That being the reality, we need to wake up. And how do we wake up? Is to get that taste, the divine taste once it enters you, and that makes you feel that, this identity is so stupid, that we are all one, we are all divine. And how we can spread and understand this divinity as oneness is all that is the bottom line. Go with any path. Go with anything you want to do. As he rightly said, talking about Viveka Chudamani and talking about witness consciousness is the same as Spanda Karika. We are only talking different paths, because when you go to a buffet, somebody takes dal and somebody takes chitrangna. You can't really say that judge there, why this guy is doing this, why this guy is doing this, because it is all our own essence which finally drives us to divinity, and that divinity finally drives us to realization, and that has to give us love and compassion in this world. This is how I am very blessed today. Thanks very much, sir. Thank you, Arjun, for having really come and helped to make this happen. It is not the number, it is not the quantity, it is, I would suggest all of you to please read it, and there is a guru who would definitely shed light on that, because his whole Atmajyoti is nothing but light and self, right? That is the bottom line. So let me not rant and let me start the excerpts. Yeah. See, now I am starting with the Mangal Shloka, which is page number 9. I would prefer you to give attention to what I say than keep on looking at the book, because it's a distraction in the sense that sometimes when PPT goes, the speaker is not even heard. They read the PPT. So don't do that. You can listen to me and look at the book if you want. So the first Mangala Shloka goes like this. Yasyonmesha nimesha vyam jagataha pralayadayo tam shakti chakra vibhava prabhavam shankaram stumaha. The explanation of the book I will read first and give a little hint. Shiva through Swatantra creates Unmesha, manifestation. Unmesha is manifestation, and Nimesha, which is dissolution. Like opening of an eyelid and closing of an eyelid. The closing of an eyelid and opening of an eyelid is like a Udaya and Pralaya at consciousness level. Okay? This phenomenon is beyond time and space. Very recently, scientists have found that this whole thing is beyond time and space. There is no time and space. That level to which the physics has gone. And nobody would believe if this was told 5 years back. So time is beyond time and space. And the only thing is, when Unmesha happens, that is manifestation happens, Udaya happens, there is sequential. When Unmesha happens, when the world is born, there is no Pralaya at that time. So that is sequential. Bound by time and space, in Unmesha Shakti Chakra of 12 gods of Shakti, which is joining and disjoining to create the world. Shakti Chakra is the cause, and their joining and disjoining creates the world, like forces of gravitation, electromagnetism, etc. What we are trying to say here is how this universe is formed in the Mangala Shloka. It is Unmesha and Nimesha of the Shiva consciousness. And once it is formed, the world gets into thousands of things by joining and disjoining of forces, which are actually 12 gods of Shakti. That is written 1050 years ago. Today we can say that these are forces. If you take Gurdjieff, he talks about 10 forces, which are the laws of universe, he says. So these forces are nothing but like forces of gravitation, electromagnetism, whatever, another 12. So but this is how the world is formed. Now the next is, by lauding Shankara, which means the grace of Shankara, one enters Sadashiva Tattva. So here it is written Shankaram Stumaha. That means you should have the humility to accept the grace to enter you. And that is how it is realized. Now, I'll go quickly now. Chitti is a phenomenon, because he has explained, I don't want to take that. Chitti is a phenomenon of non-dual Shiva consciousness. There is an activity in non-dual consciousness. Kinchit chalanam, like throb, spanda. Metaphor is wriggling serpent. You have seen in Shankara saying about serpent and rope. How many of you know Shankara? Rope and serpent, just as he said, movement in consciousness, which is Kinchit Chalanam. This throb created Shiva consciousness Prakasha. To create Icha, give rise to Shakti Vimarsha. Vimarsha is required, like a mirror is required to see our own eyes, to reflect and know the Prakasha, the awareness. So, I think I'll do it briefly. So you have your eyes, which your eyes others can see, or you can see through a mirror. Now, if I want to see my consciousness, first person, I cannot see my first person consciousness because I can't go beyond it. I could see objects, I can see my body, I can see my mind, I can see my intellect, but I can't really see my consciousness. To see consciousness, so this Shiva also has to see, the Prakasha has to have awareness of consciousness. So for awareness of consciousness, a mirror was created, which is Jagat. So the whole relation is Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. Jiva and Ishvara in Advaita are one, and Jagat is illusion. Everything rises and falls in consciousness. In Spanda or Kashmir Shaivism, Jagat is a gestalt reflection, pratibimba, of the same consciousness through which you can realize the consciousness. That is the difference. Now, this has no outside object in the world, object in that, and it is created through localized individuals, localized jivas. These localized jivas have a localized world. Your world is different to my world. His world is different to my world. Each localized world is there for each person, and the Supreme Consciousness can see through the senses of these local jivas the world. So, world with singularity, there is a very interesting explanation. Word with singularity, Shiva consciousness, which was dormant and unchanging and ever present, decided to play Leela in the world, and the manifestation took place as a mirror reflection, which is Vimarsha, which helps the Jiva to, which is inside that consciousness, to realize the Supreme Consciousness as if it is reflecting into a mirror and use it. I'll have some water. I mean, if I am going too long and too boring, please raise your hands. I will just go back to my soul. No worry. Prabhuji is there to give much better lecture than me. Okay, so that's the first verse. So I don't want to further that. Now, in Swaroopa Spanda only, I am starting Swaroopa Spanda, but I am coming to the 6th verse. Because up to 6th verse, what is explained, I am condensing and telling you. Moving deeper, we have instruments of body, mind and intellect. I'll read this one first, verse. Yatha karana vargo ayam vimudo mudavat swayam samhantarena chakrena pravrutti sthiti samhruti labate tat prayatnena parikshayam tattvam adarat yatha swatantrata tasya sarvatreya akrutima swatantrata tasya sarvatreya akrutima. This is very important. Let us understand what it is. Moving deeper, we have instruments of body, mind, intellect. Yatah karana vargo ayam. These instruments, which are jada, means inactive, lifeless and inert. Our hand is there. If there is no light or prakasha of consciousness in us, this is jada. It doesn't do anything. But does it have chaitanya on its own? No. So, when these are driven by consciousness, they are otherwise dumb. Let us examine further. All indriyas act, eating, drinking, touching and smelling. So one acts, let's say, to eat a sweet, moves his hand to pick up, put it in the mouth. Who is asking him to do it? Who is asking this sweet to be eaten? It is the mind. First level of instruction comes from the mind to the body to act on indriyas. Then let us say the body obeying the mind, intellect which is superior to instrument to mind says you are diabetic. Now you are about to eat a sweet and your intellect, buddhi, says, oh bhai, you are having diabetes, why are you eating this sweet? Not supposed to eat sugar. The intellect decides, gives approval or rejection, the body obeys. So we established a hierarchy of action of body, mind and then intellect. Let us move further, deeper level. This is a very subtle level. Let us see how the decision taken by the intellect gives reviewed by acceptance and rejection by you, yourself. Only your strength finally agrees that the intellect has decided as the final push is by you. Thus you may still eat the sweet, though intellect doctor's advice. But touching your consciousness, what is this Swaroopa Spanda is doing is defining who you are. You had body, mind, intellect, now you are come to where does it touch your consciousness? One is witnessing the Advaita method. Here he is saying that you are touching the consciousness because even if the doctor has told no and your intellect has told you are not supposed to eat sweet, you will say, one day it will be okay, yaar. My friend has given, you eat the sweet. Why do you eat the sweet? Because that consciousness has overruled that intellect. That is the first person. Can it go beyond? It cannot. So it stops at the first person. So it is very important to understand what is this small I, local jiva, and where it stops. So this is Swarupa. We are defining Swarupa so subtle that one can understand what is Swarupa. Now you are able to, so this is stopped at first person. Now, how do we make this first person, like Prabhuji said, to an infinite consciousness? I am trying to define in simple words so that you will get interest in this. Now, how do we do this? For example, today you see Google Map. It is an instrument that captures. You can have TV in your house. You do an OTT, you can listen. So you have a radio and you can listen. Why all these are happening? These are people happening because though it is very much far, you have an instrument which you have made, which can receive, and therefore you can see. Maybe 20 years back, 30 years back, we didn't have that, right? So this kind of receivers have helped it. So we should also, do we have a receiver in us that can see that is what we are now looking at to become infinite. Okay. We can do the same thing directly, communicating and receiving the sound waves and see any place we want in real time like satellite image. A wave has to be recognized and acquire the original nature of a notion and come out of individual identity of a wave. A wave, as long as it is egoistic self itself, thinking that I am a small wave, big wave, I am a beautiful wave, I am an ugly wave, whatever it is, it's an identity. It is nothing but a part of the ocean. A wave has to realize that it is a part of the ocean. It is the same water, same essence. And that's what he was telling about. So this, when you realize, you are actually looking at becoming infinite. And once that infinity happens, you can see in it, I'll say later here, space is the pot, space is in the pot which is localized, should be broken open and merged with the space of consciousness. You have a pot, you are like a pot with a localized jiva, localized self, localized world. Now the idea is, if this pot boundary is broken, you are one with the space, you don't no more have any boundaries. Similarly, our jiva, which is a localized self seeing a local world, has the ability to do the return journey to see him, Shiva consciousness. Shiva has the ability to see through our indriyas this world he has created. Otherwise he can't see. Infinite consciousness cannot directly see anything which we are seeing unless he uses us. So he to remove his singularity and enjoy the life of celebration and krida, he does that, and we in return have a return journey possible to re-recognize that we are Shiva consciousness. And that return path is called Pratyabhigna. That is second text of Kashmir Shaivism. Spanda Karika, Pratyabhigna. Pratyabhigna means you are re-recognizing you are that. Let's say I am seeing Sridhar after 10 years. And my recognition and memory tells me this is Sridhar. Same recognition and memory I will have of my own consciousness to recognize in the mirror, this is my consciousness. So Vimarsha and Prakasha get connected. So this infinity comes through if the pot is broken. And we merge the pot with the outside space. I think this is one verse which it's actually two verses, verse 6 and 7, which gives you a complete insight into Swaroopa Spanda. But Swaroopa Spanda goes up to 25 verses. So be patient. I think you will gain by understanding your Swarupa. And no, I'm actually having another two of Swaroopa Spanda which I will read. 13. Now, there is one important thing I did not say. See, there is one last sentence here. Labate tat prayatnena pariksham tat tvam adarat. Which means, on examination like this, we have been able to look at the Supreme Consciousness and understand it is the individual consciousness. Once we realize an established tattva is as same as the infinite awareness, Supreme Consciousness, we know it is Swatantra, it is Sarvatra, it is Akrutima. Okay, so what he says here, yatha swatantrata tasya sarvatreya akrutima, which means totally independent, totally available, and not artificial. That is the conclusion of this verse. So, I'm trying to say that interpreting the verse, but maybe some explanations are added. Shall I go on, or is it boring? Is any of you feeling sleepy? Not yet. Okay. Atasta Krutimam Gneyam. This is the 13th verse, page number 31. Asakta Krutimam Gneyam Saushupta Padavat Sada Natvevam Smarya Manatvam Tatvam Pratipadyate. This is the 13th verse. This verse is a culmination of previous one. The abhava state we witness, which illumines and provides platform, is known as changing nature, Krutima. We can experience it and understand this void appearing and dissolving to the next state or thought. For example, we are aware with shining stands during all three states of waking, dreaming and sleeping, Sushupti Abhava state. We also similarly witness Samadhi state. Like the eyes cannot see itself, the self also does not go back to see itself. The going beyond watch witness stops at self-swarupa. Its nature like eyes can see to illuminate and provide platform is the end all. So what it is saying, I will just explain. There is a waking state, there is a sleeping state, there is a deep state, waking state, sleeping state, Turiya dreaming state, Turiya state, and Samadhi state. Now, in any of these states, you are the individual conscious work is what just to give prakasha. That means it sheds light and it gives a platform. And this is what the Swarupa does. Swarupa has only these two. Everything else is changing. This will remain. So even in abhava, when there is a void, where is the void? Void is there when you are in sushupti or when you are in samadhi. So even during those times, the chaitanya or the light prakasha remains shining, because when you wake up you say I slept well. In Advaita we say that when you have a deep sleep I slept well, or I had a good dream, but you are not aware of that time. So, but Chaitanya is there. So that is the witness conscious concept. Same concept here is saying that it gives a stance. For example, in the Swarupa we say that there is a screen on which the picture is going on. The picture can be sad, picture can be humorous, picture can be with water, picture can be with fire. Does the screen get wet when you see a movie in which water is coming? It doesn't. Does the screen catch fire when there is a fire? No. Same way your Swarupa has the work of only giving illumination and platform. It is in no way connected. And we go further and we will see, but both are integrated into one consciousness only. This experience and the experience. We will come to that. But I don't know how much time, Arjun. It's all, I have to finish because you have a time limit here. So, okay, I will try to conclude. I hope I will be.
You can take one from each chapter, one essential truth of each chapter. This is Swaroopa Gnana.
Yeah. So this abhava is also illumined status, prakasha given, and you have understood that stance is provided. But in none of this, you are not getting attached. So the next one is. This is the last verse of Swaroopa Spanda. At least let me complete that. This verse is a turning point. So far we had Swaroopa Gnana, understanding the self with practices as instructed. Now is the verse to abide in self for Spanda. There is dropping of the separate self, gunas, the vrittis, the thoughts and the actions, etc. Now surrender to the Supreme Self and act as that, acting in resonance. Which means, what happens when you do all this, why we should do all this Swaroopa Spanda and see ourselves and get into that. Basically, you work like Supreme Consciousness. Now let us say there is a saint who has said that I will never tell a lie. And then there is a there is three women come running to him that some gundas are coming behind me. Now he says, you hide there. And supposing he says to them that, okay, these people are hiding here. Now that kind of, problems come in. Right? So what we are trying to say here is the reversal state which I surrendered. Now what it says is, what am I supposed to do? What you are supposed to do is only if you have an identity with your egoistic self, with you are somebody, you have knowledge, you are intelligent, you are Achutha, you know spirituality. When the stupid identity comes, then only you have to think, what should I do? Should I save her? Should I not save her? What does Supreme Consciousness do? If flood has to come, it will come. If somebody is to be protected, it will protect. Spontaneous action of the Supreme Consciousness, as you would have done, you would also react from individual consciousness. That is Spanda of last explanation. I will leave it at that. One more, Arjun. I will go only one. There was some more very interesting stuff. Okay. I will go to 129, page number 65. तस्मात् शब्दार्थ चिंतासु न सवस्थान या शिवः भोक्तैव भोग्य भावेन सदा सर्वत्र संस्थितः. Explaining for everything in the world, Jiva experiences Shiva. In fact, the world is in him as non-dual consciousness and is reflection of the same world inside which appears as a reflection in the limited Jiva. Therefore, all worlds, all narratives and all avasthas of this experience is Shiva's Rupa only. So what Kashmir Shaivism says is that this, because it has come from the Shiva inside, Shiva outside is also Shiva Sattva. So the world is also Shiva, you are also Shiva. So Jagat and individual consciousness Shiva, Shiva consciousness Shiva. So everything is Shiva Mayam that way. So you breathe, there are some meditative techniques which I can't get into now. Same way, so when you enjoy an object, let's say you like Rasgulla and you are eating Rasgulla, that Rasgulla also, even though not eaten, that bhokta, bhogya, bhog are integral to each other. The screen and the picture are integral to each other, and therefore experience is the experience. So that is the concept. I think we'll have to read it fully to understand. But I am telling you that 65 is saying that. For example, why is it like that? There is a poet in his house, all the poems get destroyed, like burnt fire. Can the poet still write poetry? He can. So where is the poetry and poems residing in his consciousness? So like Shiva consciousness has the world explaining and the world is inside Shiva and your local world is inside you, same way it can be expressed. I hope I am making it clear. Sorry, I am going a little fast. So similarly, ahamta, this is the last one I will do. Ahamta means, ahamta expansion can take you to infinite consciousness. How? My teeth bites my tongue. Do you go on a quarreling game like you go on with your BJP and Congress? You won't. You will excuse it, no? You will say, my teeth are my tongue is okay. Now next level you go to, let's say, family. So you will say your wife has done driving accident. So what happens? So you will always be with her, isn't it? You really want to protect her. So this aham, individual consciousness, expands into handling more and more of as ours. So finally it's infinite. It has to have everybody with you. And that oneness is a method of getting it. That's what is explained. But I think, if any of you can read that explanation, it is good. So I think I'm done. I will read prayer to Vasugupta and close it. Verse number 53, the last one. It's okay. Labdva vya alabhyameta gnanadanam hridgruhanta Hrudguhanta Krutani Hiteha Vasugupta Vachivaya Hi Bhavati Sada Sarva Lokasya. This is the last verse of Spanda Karika. This treasure of knowledge was revealed to Vasugupta on the rocks. He told all that already. He kept it in the cave of his heart, has attainment of his treasure. Heart is the light, Prakasha, our consciousness, and Vimarsha is the awareness of this consciousness. Heart is the light of our consciousness, and Vimarsha, awareness of this consciousness. Vimarsha is the awareness of this consciousness. It is like a cave. This is treasure in the heart of Vasugupta. So it will be for the good of all. This will be for the good of all. There are no restrictions on one to achieve this and preserve it. Just thus one enters the Shankara, the Shiva consciousness in the cave of the heart. Cave of heart bring and spread good in all universe. It is like saying that the ocean is there and the wave becomes the ocean. The ocean never says, I became a wave. So you should have that understanding with Supreme Consciousness that I as a wave will come to you. So that humility, grace is needed in order to realize. So when you want to become infinite consciousness, you have to realize you are a wave going to the ocean. And ocean will never say, I have become the wave. Thank you.